And these things kind of look, you know, trailer, they don't look homey, but they move, and so I could just have, you know, the couch like that and have my own fancy pillows, or even cover those maybe with some velvet or something. Hi, I've been working on a project since October. When I found out that, you know, I wasn't going to be able to move, I didn't give up. I figured, you know, I'll start doing some projects and get some things done. And those yucky armrests that were at the end of the couch, I ripped the ugly material off them and kind of rounded them out another night last October. And then I put the batting back on and they got packed away. And I also had these red velvet pants that wouldn't sell. And there's just not room to keep everything, so I decided to rip them apart, each leg, and then the fabric is going to go around here, and they're going to be kind of bohemian gypsy rolls. And I got some gold trim and some rope and some tassels on sale, and that was like last October too, so they're packed away somewhere, and I'll get them out. And I'll get the material ready to sew and then start putting it together, and I'll have repurposed pillows. So I'm going to start getting the material ready. I got the trim out. I got this nice trim that's going to go on the velvet fabric. I got the rope, the tie for the ends, and tassels to go on the ties. They were on sale like a long time ago at Hobby Lobby, and so since I was going to be doing this, I went and got that. So that'll be what I'll be putting together as I start with this project. So I'm just going to show you each step of the way. Okay, so here's what I did now. You can see this is the pant leg, and I put the roll thing inside it and stuffed it in there. And then here I kind of gathered it together, gave it a little extra room because I'm going to want to make a space for the cord to go through, and I stuck a pin. And then I'm going to take this pillow form thing out, and I'm going to end up like sewing this in so that the top width and the bottom width are the same, and then put the trim on it and go from there, and then sew up the ends. I'm working on sewing up the seam so that both ends are going to be the same width, and I'm working with my new machine. I gotta say, it's a little frustrating tonight. I did one project on it before and it was fine, and then tonight I kind of forgot how to use it and my hands aren't working very well, so it seems like everything trying to fumble it, but it's halfway through and I'm getting it to that point, so I'm just going to keep on sewing. Okay, tonight now, I had cut the piece last night, and tonight I turned it over and sewed each end so the cord will be able to pass through on this. So that's what I did tonight on one of the pieces. It's really, really slow going. I'll keep you posted through the whole process. It's really slow going. This machine, though, I gotta say, it's actually fun to use. I'm not much into liking to sew, but it's kind of fun using this cute little thing. I didn't think it would be, but it actually is, to do a project with it. I bought it for mending and for short little things, not big major projects that take days and days, but it does do them. So the next step is going to be to add the trim, which I'll probably, work on over the weekend. I'll do some Saturday and some on Sunday. So you'll be watching as I, each step as I do that to use these repurposed items. I spent the evening tonight working on this, and it hasn't been so easy at all. Since I had the red thread in the machine, I ended up doing the other leg as well. And as you see, what I did here is I hemmed that there so that, I don't know how you can see in this light, but I hemmed it so that the cord could go through it. And then I tried to stretch the trim onto the trim that I'm going to put there onto it. And if you don't stretch it, then when you try to stretch the fabric to get it on, everything's going to tear and the trim won't be long enough. And I stretched it too much, and it still looked gathered after I put it on here. So I was also having a hard time with the trim getting it, it seemed to knot up in the machine because the thread that I'm using isn't really good for that machine. And that's the only thread that I have that'll match the trim. So what I'm going to do is, I've got it on here now, so I know how much trim I'm going to need and where it should be on the fabric and how stretched the fabric should be. So I'm just going to go and put it on. I'll probably baste it first into place with black thread or something, and then I'm going to sew it on by hand because it'll be a lot easier to control. And then after that I'll have the trim. So it's starting to take shape. It's starting to look like a pillow, after almost 6 months. It's getting somewhere. But I'm just going to work on it a little bit every day when I get the chance, when I'm not too tired, and eventually I'll have a pillow out of this. So I'm going to put it over here now. I'm just going to store it because I don't have a lot of room to store it and having that bag stuff, but it's starting to become an actual pillow. Okay, I've started to pin this here using the seam gauge to kind of measure what I'm doing. And what I'm going to do, before I even finish pinning it, I'm going to pin a little bit, and then I'm going to sew a little bit and just slide my hand underneath so it doesn't get sewn to the inside, and just sew it. And that way it'll be the right stretch and it'll look good. So I'm going to go work on sewing this. Okay, tonight I did get this one side of the pillow, this trim, sewn on, all by hand, sewn on. So I'm a little bit further on the pillow project. I worked on the pillow tonight, and I got another row of the trim sewn on. And so now what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to get a little bit of fabric and cut it out and just have it as a layer there, so that when it's gathered and tied, when you see through the hole, you won't see the fuzzy stuff, so it'll cover up the fuzzy stuff. So I'm going to have to do that on each end. So that's the next part of the project that I'm going to be doing. Okay, I completed the next step. I cut out a circle for each end of the pillow. Since one end is a little bigger than the other, I made one a little bigger than the other, just in case. And what I'll do is I'll cut out 2 more circles for the other pillow that eventually when I make that I'll have it, and I'll just use these as the pattern. And then I'm going to take it and sew this into one of the seams there, so it'll be a piece that will stick out, and then if I take it, the cover off, I can take the cover off and then put it back into place before I tie it. Okay, what I did is I took these round circles and I sewed it right there to one of the seams, and then I just left it plain after that. I just laid it, but I have it attached to one of the seams so that when it's the drawstring is there, there'll be like a hole and there'll be velvet through the hole. So I've done that at each end of the pillow, and that's going to be all for tonight. Okay, so now I'm going to have to make holes, buttonholes for the cord. See how the cord is through here, and there's some buttonholes. So now is to make some buttonholes for this end. So I'm just gonna like take a seam ripper and just kind of poke it here. And what I've got to do too, see, I'm making sure that this is the same seam as this, so they're both kind of in the same place. So I'm going to take a seam ripper and just like rip a little thing, enough for the cord to go through. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side of the seam. And you could do it like ahead of time, like before you sew all this on a sewing machine. But it's kind of hard. You'd have to measure like where to put it and all that. And being that I have like a real little machine, it's easier for me just to take the thread and sew the buttonhole by hand. So I'm going to do that, and I will be back. Okay, I did the buttonholes, and I cut a new cord. I kind of strung this along here, so this would be the same length as this one. And I'm going to add a safety pin to it and string it through. On this side, if I can find it, I hand sewed the buttonholes here. So I hand finished them, and then I'm going to put the cord through. So I'm going to go do that right now, and I'll be back. Okay, the strings are strung through. I tied a little knot in them real tight, so this would stay put and this stuff would stay put. And I've gotten one tassel on. It's not that great a job because this is a repurpose. It's basically, I got the ribbon and the tassels and the cord really cheap, and that's all the money that I'm going to put into it. Because if I had a lot of money, I'd probably just go buy some real fancy pillow new. But this is a repurposed job, repurposing some pants, repurposing horrible looking armrests, and making them look great. So what I've done, usually what you do when you want to do a tassel to a cord, you hook it and do something, and you hook it and do something, and then you get like a gold cord or something and twist it, or a bead or something expensive, and maybe sometime 10 years down the line when things are a lot better in my life, I could always go back and take them off and do them right. But meanwhile, I think this is gonna be good for a repurposed project for a gypsy home. I think that's just gonna be fine as long as it's neatly done and done cleanly. So what I did is I tied knots really, really tight to the end of the cord, and then I'm going to like wrap this, hook this together like that, and then wrap it around and sew it just with this yellow thread, and which is what I did with that. And then I'll have the tassels on it. Okay, it's now March, and this little pillow project that I started, I actually started the Gypsy Pillows project back a year ago, over a year ago, getting the pillow forms, and you can see over on the keyboard the sari material, but I started the repurposing pillows back in October, and I'm really proud to say it's March and it's done. The tassels are on. It came out really good. It was a matter of, just making the effort to do the knots very neatly and then sew the thing to the knots. to do it very neatly. I'll probably never ever want to like take it apart and add a bead or anything like that because it came out pretty good. Just taking some extra care and just doing an extra good job with getting the knots perfect and then wrapping the tassel, the little thingy on the tassels around the knots and sewing it into place. And so that way you really can't see, you just see the knot and the tassel. So I've gotten this tied, the little thing's in, it's tied tight, and then it's got the string that comes down. I could either leave it loose like that, or I could tie it into a bow, or I could take it and tuck it in here and just leave it like out a little bit, sticking out. So it's really cool. The little roll pillows, the velvet gypsy roll pillows are done. Kind of has a Moroccan flair, but gypsy stuff does. So that's it. That's how the pillows are made. And well, actually, I'm not quite done. Over there is the beginning of the second pillow that's gonna hopefully look like this. So that's it for the gypsy pillow. There's going to be more videos about getting my off-grid trailer to be the home that I want it to be. And if you hit like, comment, subscribe, and do share. And have a great evening.